Hey, what's the yellow and blue? Japan. Ukrainian flag. It looks like people are still parked for the most part. I thought they were taking off because there was a line of Trumpies, but it looks much bigger than I thought it was going to be. There's a guy in the line of cars that's playing Fuck Donald Trump. There was one truck earlier that was flying a Confederate flag. Guy in a wheelchair that's got Trump flags swerving in and out of traffic. It looks fun. Kind of jealous. It's a pretty large turnout. While I'm walking, there's a rally in Troutdale at the used to be the Troutdale Police Department that's being put on by the Stand Up movement, which is primarily like rural area liberal type folks that have been getting harassed a lot. So they're asking to go out and support that at 6 at the Troutdale Police Department, now the Multnomah County Sheriff's station out there. A lot of Trump flags. A lot of thin line blue flags. Looks like there's about really 3 different kinds of flags here. You can see there are a lot of flags. They dominate this part of the Clackamas Town Center. It's hard to estimate. We got a QAnon Jeep here. I was just listening to a podcast of people that pay close attention to QAnon, and they said that since March, I believe, March to July, there was a 600% increase in QAnon social media activity. There's a lot of people that pay attention to, different movements and are finding that QAnon's becoming more and more scary. There's a couple dozen people running for Congress state and national, that are QAnons. I'm not seeing a whole lot of, not really seeing any like outright fascist symbology. It's a bunch more. It seems like just about every vehicle over here is a Trumpy vehicle. Got Cannon's Life Matters sign. Got Proud Boys here. Handful of Proud Boys. 3 of them rolling together. There's a few more. Got Patriot Front supporter Carl Todd here. Flip Todd. That supports neo-Nazi Patriot Front. There's got to be a joke behind the Subarus. I'm not seeing any Subarus. I'm seeing a lot of Dodge trucks and Chevy and Ford trucks. Stand corrected. A lot of Chevy and Dodge trucks. I don't think people actually like Fords anymore. Yeah, I would tend to disagree a little bit with calling Trump a fascist, although he's the closest thing to a fascist that we've seen. Call him just like a really racist populist that has a lot of fascist supporters. He lost a lot of support from neo-Nazi groups when he started being vocal about supporting Israel. Got another Confederate flag. Not saying he doesn't have a lot of fascistic policies and fascist in his cabinet, like Stephen Miller and Bannon, or previously Bannon, but I need somebody's help. Is this the Vietnamese flag? Yeah. Stephen Miller's still there. Bannon is not. Sorry if I wasn't clear about that. It sounds like getting messages that Tiny may have been arrested. Jay Perkins here coming up, somehow related to Joe Ray Perkins, which is the QAnon that ran for Oregon. Right here that just walked by. Ray Joe or Joe Ray, I think it's Joe Ray, ran for congressional seat in Oregon and is a QAnon. One of her aides tried to say that she did not support Q, and then Joe Ray came back out and was like, no, that's not true. I do support Q. So she's one of the more local QAnons. The fact that I haven't got harassed much makes me believe these are a lot of Trumpies that don't really show up to protest a whole lot. There are a few Proud Boys and regulars here, but usually I get at least some lip when I'm around Trump rallies. Chandler Pappas is here with his paintball gun that was on record talking about wanting to kill anti-fascists. He's the one with the no shirt on, the paintball gun. He was also in Gresham. People think that him and his crew are going to show up out in Gresham again today. Kind ofAtello here. It's been on. Got another QAnon right here. Quincy's been on video saying that the wall is that all the dirty Muslims need to be kicked out of the U.S. And that's what the wall's for. As he was yelling at a random Portlander that was heckling them. With his small child next to him too. It's pretty gross. He's been out at a lot of the protests downtown, filming in black bloc, trying to look like he's a protester. Yeah, Vietnamese flag. So Vietnamese people that support Trump. It's very interesting to see. There's always people that came to the U.S. who either have like fled authoritarian communist countries or have family that did, that are like far right Vietnamese, Cubans, and I don't know as much about, yeah, Cubans and Vietnamese are probably the most prominent that I've seen. Andy knows the perfect example. Someone's yelling 12 more years. That would be probably considered a dictatorship on most people's definition. No, thank you. They wanted me to sign is this for you or for somebody else?
For somebody else.
For somebody else? Yeah. You're gonna send it to him in Louisiana?
Yeah. I found my friend over there. I want to sign here. I sent for my friend over there. I have a 50 flag in my box. Yeah, on state on
Yeah.
So you're doing every state? Yeah, I would love to sign as well. Thank you.
Yeah. So he has 50 T-shirts. One with every state name on it, and he's having people sign it. There's mainly a lot of generic Trump flags. I don't pop tires nor advocate for it on social media. Yeah, I think almost like we need to not Quincy has started a new page called I didn't want to say it. Quincy started a new page, and I really think that at this point he shouldn't be shared or opposed publicly, because that'll help him gain followers. I do struggle with the balance between exposing bigots and then giving them extra attention that like controversy, like whether if there's controversy around something, uh, if he gets a lot of left-right attention, he will get a lot of left-right followers, which will give him more reach. And he has been, I don't want to say mainstreamed, but he's getting a lot of attention from the Back the Blue folks, which in general aren't, prior to this, weren't politically involved. I don't really know a lot of their politics outside that they are, they don't think for themselves, and they just like blindly support the police, which is one of the most disturbing things that I've seen, as far as just like you can get on YouTube and look up like police brutality and watch days of footage. It's not something that there's not a bunch of evidence out there of how rampant police violence is and abuse of power, but yet these people come out and are willing to oppose people that oppose police violence and brutality. Obviously, most of them are right wingers. Whether there's somebody that I would consider far right, I don't really know. I'm sure it depends on the individual. Anyway, my point is that Quincy's been getting a lot of attention in their circles, and his shit's getting shared all over the place amongst the far right and Back the Blue people. So I don't. Yeah, my point is I don't know if it's going to be helpful to be like sharing his stuff in a way to oppose him. It's really giving him a platform. He's been exposed plenty. There's plenty of information on Quincy Anatello of his misogyny and anti-Muslim rhetoric and homophobic rhetoric. It's not like people don't have access to that information. There's been full articles put out on him. I think there's probably a lot of these people that don't really know how bad he is. But I don't know if they even care. Even that's kind of the problem amongst even more moderate conservatives, is that they'll deny bigotry at all costs if they feel it reflects on them. I was actually just watching one of his videos today where he was interviewing another black man out in Gresham, and the black guy literally said, "What if there are Nazis here? Who cares? They're here fighting for our country." And I'm just baffled by that rhetoric. Especially when it's coming from a black man. Quincy is friends with Alan Puckett, which is a full-blown Nazi now. They're both street preachers together. They haven't been seen together a whole lot since Alan went full Nazi. So I don't know if what the reasoning behind that, whether that's Quincy's decision or whether it's Alan's, or if it's a mutual, like, we're going to do our own thing, or if it's just by chance. But they're the regular hate preachers in Portland that show up to gay pride events and harass people. And then once Alan started getting involved in Patriot Prayer, he got connected with the right or wrong people, depending on how you look at it, and went full Nazi. I don't think Biden is going to be a good president. I don't think he's going to be president. I think Trump's going to win. Oh yeah, true. Thanks for reminding me. Quincy and Robert Zerfing actually have been working together a lot. Robert Zerfing's been downtown a lot, also in Black Block. And I confronted him about working with Quincy, and he pretty much just gave the excuse like, we can't agree on everything about the people that we work with, which is just pretty much saying, hey, I don't really care if he's a bigot. There's probably like maybe half a dozen to a dozen Proud Boys over here. Seems like a pretty small turnout for the Proud Boys. Got Eli Ritchie that just walked by. I have nothing for Eli. I can't stand seeing him if he comes over to me. I'm not. I'm not talking to you.
I'm wondering if you guys identify white supremacists for the benefit of black lives. No, you haven't been able to yet? That's too bad. Well, I hope that you're able to, because it's, again, a race war where I stand out.
Why are you coming up to me and talking to me?
You're a journalist, and I was wondering if you've been able to identify any white supremacists.
That's not what you're doing. I told you not to talk to me. You fucking mentioned my daughter's name. You need to get the fuck out of my face.
Did I mention your daughter's name?
You did, yes.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't think those Trumpies knew who I was because they're confronting Eli, probably because he's a black dude. They didn't seem to have any issue with me. He's out here trying to start shit. The Proud Boys are wearing Proud Boy gear. I also know who the local Proud Boys are. I did zoom in on the crowd of Proud Boys, but not just to show that they're here. Not that I really give a shit. Proud Boys are probably one of the more powerful hate groups in the US right now. Another QAnon. I actually don't know where they're going. If I were to assume, which is not really based off of any actual information, I would assume that they're going to drive downtown and back. But who knows? There's the Proud Boy that was harassing a guy out in where was it? It was Canby or something. Bill in Phoenix was out there. He got footage of it. He's been a total douchebag. There's Carl Flip Todd again. He's a pretty prominent Proud Boy in the Pacific Northwest. 2028. 8 more years. Anybody off the top of their head know what the longest standing like prime minister or president is that's currently in position in the across the globe? Sorry to just fix my mask. Has Putin really been in power that long? I feel like there has to be people that have been in power for more than a decade or two. I could be wrong though. Some Black Lives Matter protesters. This kid is like, he's pretty much like talking shit about this guy in the wheelchair. It's an asymmetry thing that I've seen in a long time. He's like boasting about being able to walk. Do you think that rhetoric's immature, or do you think it's normal to like heckle somebody that can't walk?
No, I was just using in my space. So I'm just trying.
So just giving it back to him, or what? In his space. In his space.
It's so sick, man. Over there, they were kind of sleeping
That's on because the national anthem is being played. How long has Abe been in position, in power? Oh, damn. 45 years in Cameroon. Saddam Hussein. That's funny. Black and yellow. Usually, when you see black and yellow, they're either like identify as libertarians or like ANCAPs. Except the Proud Boys, their tenets definitely reflect libertarianism, but they aren't really, like, most of them aren't actually libertarians. They're very much fall into the authoritarian right category. So there's a crew of youngsters. Some of them are trying to go over to maybe a handful. I haven't seen any. I've seen like 3 counter protesters, but it sounds like there may be more than that. And there's a handful of them that want to go over and fuck with them. And a couple of them are being smart and saying, let's not. It's dumb. It'll turn into a fight. Got the Recall Cape Brown tent. They've been out on 82nd a lot.
They don't want us to be the country that we were after World War II. They don't want us to be the
Got some shirts. Got a bunch.
We have some followers
I was saying the opposite. I was saying like actual libertarian tenets would oppose authoritarianism or contradict many times. But people that call themselves libertarians often aren't actually libertarians. I was saying how a lot of libertarians that call themselves libertarians aren't actually libertarians.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm actually on the ballot as a libertarian candidate.
Yeah, where are you running at?
State House District 48.
Where's that?
Southeast Portland and part of Clackamas County.
So Oregon Congress?
No, Salem, House of Representatives.
Oh, okay.
Salem.
Yeah. What's your name?
Ed Merrillhart.
Cool, thank you. Ed Merrillhart, running as a libertarian. Good look at his shit, see if he's actually libertarian. I would probably bet against that, but you never know.
We need so many years of American first if
I am.
Let people listen up because I know there's a lot of young people here. 5 years ago, when I was in college, I made a decision and I would no longer watch my fellow classmates continue to absorb the propaganda that is spewed at them by the liberal professors, by the liberal media, and it was time to take a stand. I lost friends almost immediately. I lost people on Facebook, I lost people on Instagram, I continue to lose people to this day, but guess what? My country comes first and so should yours. We're done with the fakeness, we're done appeasing people who don't love our country. Young people, start standing up. It's not going to be comfortable. But I'll tell you one thing, if you don't start standing up right now, young people, and God love you parents that stay on them, if you don't start standing up, young people, you're not going to have a country here in 5 to 10 years. It's time to start standing up for the greatest country in the freaking world. Let's keep God at the center of everything we do, because that's the number one most important thing. God comes first. Jesus comes first in this country. God bless you guys. Alex, thank you for letting me be a part of this. Thank you for letting us be a part of this. Thank you for what you're doing for Oregon, because this is unbelievable. People thought we were done in Oregon. The media, the mob, they want to put Oregon on a pedestal for the liberals and say, look what's going on here. But you know what? Even if it's from our own side, we're still not going to stop fighting, guys. We're still going to stand up for this country because it's worth standing up for. Because the whole why do you think they're keep standing up. Keep standing up for this president. Keep standing up for yourself, your families, and your community. God bless Alex, the man of the hour. None of us can be doctors.
Same bikers from earlier.
I'm a motivational speaker, but I have a big heart for the city. I grew up in Florida, in Richmond. I And I think that we have a big silent majority here in Oregon. And you guys are proof of that. My fellow citizens, we are everybody for coming out today and for supporting our great president, Donald J. Trump.
Trying to get up closer. He was out on August 15th when Swinny and Skylar Jernigan assaulted people with paintball guns and mace. And then Skylar had shot out of his car. This guy was here. Or was there. He saw me and walked away.
We stand to protect and help and encourage one another in this difficult hour. And Trump is our voice in the White House. That's right, he is our voice. My parents grew up in a country that had socialism and moved here to this state so that we can avoid it. With your help, America will never be a socialist
Yeah, it's
country.
like every vehicle was a Trump vehicle.
We have sat too long and complained about what is going on. But tonight, our fellow citizens.
Interesting. If y'all didn't see it, sounds like Clackamas Mall is closing.
You did once say, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. It is our duty.
You have a lot of familiar faces, which I think is good and bad.
You have a voice. We all have a voice.
Good in the sense it's not the usuals that come out to be violent. Bad in the sense that they might be growing. We got a horse. Yeah, nice dude. Yeah. Smells good too. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? How you doing? Got a biker with a Confederate flag on his chest attached. It's the third Confederate flag. RICA on the patch. I feel like that's something against child abuse. Something against child abuse, I think. I remember seeing a racist skin sharing it. Not saying it's racist, I'm just saying affiliations where I saw that.
So that we may celebrate the freedom that to be united. And we all know that you are one God, and we can reach out to you.
There were some Ukraine flags. Oh, the Russia flags is a Putin thing. Damn liberals on my page. This is just a Trump 2020 Caravan Keep calling racist patriots. That's what taints the name, the term patriot.
Everybody that has helped me to get this already. This is a lot of people. So I want to give them a hand.
So I'm assuming there's a lot of political candidates out here. Cuba. I mean, you can't like put 100% into a candidate that called for a Muslim ban and said that Mexico is only letting in they're not letting in their best, they're letting in the rapists and murderers. Islamophobia is based out of racism because often people don't understand the difference between the Middle East, Arab countries, and Muslim majority countries. They look at them all synonymously. Being Arab is a racial group. Anti-Muslim and anti-Arab sentiment are synonymous for Trumpies. Biden is also racist, though, I will say that. Oh, and he has a white nationalist as his senior fucking immigration policy advisor. Like, how do you get around that one? Stephen Miller organized with the most prominent alt-right person. The fuck is his name? Richard Spencer in college, which wasn't that long ago, and brought in Peter Brimelow, which is a white nationalist that founded the media, the news company VDare. Well, that is a former friend of mine. Semi trucks are going to be leading. I feel like the lady on a horse is somehow connected to the Hammonds and the Bundys. She looks really familiar. Is Richard Spencer really voting for Biden? Biden has definitely showed more anti-black sentiment than Trump has, but that doesn't mean that Trump isn't a racist and he's not Islamophobic and homophobic and or transphobic and doesn't work with white nationalists and wasn't called the Great White Hope in the beginning of his election cycle by the white nationalists that organized and Unite the Right. It's not really worth comparing the two. They're both trash. I know Biden has endorsed segregation in the past, which would make some sense, but that was a couple decades ago. I doubt that's why Richard Spencer supports him, if he does. Both Trump and Biden are both for the human rights abuses that are going on in Israel. Don't condemn any of it. So I don't really see Richard Spencer supporting him. This is going to take a long time for them to get out of here. There's got to be hundreds of cars. 100, 200 cars, I don't know. Wonder if I could get out the back way. I know Israel is an apartheid state. And they violate the rights of Palestinians daily. Yes, white nationalists are still in full support of Trump's immigration policies. Or what? I'll make sure he doesn't touch the car. I'm
back in your fucking Jeep, alright? Your Jeep's still alright. Your Jeep is fine. You need to step back in your fucking Jeep. Alright, just step back in your fucking Jeep. Hey, you trying to run me over? We got trouble. Get back in your Jeep.
Where you at, America?
Keep on driving.
The driver seemed alright, but the passenger was like ready to throw down over.
See what you bring to our state? See what you bring to our city? Ignorance and hate. And that's why we're out here. To stop you guys. To stop you guys. To stop you guys. What? How much money? When you deal with people, right? You like sitting guys engaged over the last 4 weeks, and you have attacked us, and terminated us, and pulled guns on us, and then wear what you wear, and then represent what you represent. I know that, right? I have to bring that out into our city and say, we can't allow this. We need you to come out, regardless of what you believe. You can be a Trump supporter. But I need you to come out and say, we don't support the people who are doing that. And I need you to stand on our side. Even if you're wearing Trump shit, I need you to stand on our side and say, and we're said no. But no, we wouldn't. And what about all the Trump supporters who beat us up? Isn't that how we're going to say? Social distance. Here's the thing. Again, people can see what they want to see. Right now, it's a dangerous to our black community. It's a dangerous to
There's like 10 people that are together that are counter protesters.
He's gaslighting so many people. Come out with guns and do what they did to Ahmaud Arbery, and do what they did to Trayvon Martin, and do what they did to the Kenneth Kenosha. They gaslighted that. To do what they did.
The people in the vehicle pretty much just said that they respect that I've actually never met him. The guy in the wheelchair, I don't know his name. Respect that he's been out. They've seen him on live stream a lot. They were saying they did oppose what happened with like Alan Sweeney and Skylar Jernigan coming out and bear spraying everybody, and they're saying that they opposed that. So they had some agreement on that.
Who's off? Probably with you.
It's always nice to have the people that are out here are countering.
Hey, do me a favor.
Uh,
Can you get something in a random 3 for me?
have a lot of discipline, which I always appreciate.
Can you get me the part 3? Is that possible? Why can only part 1?
Not to say there's anything wrong if you go wild, but it's just a nice energy sometimes.
I'm talking about the movie, you dummy. Have you even seen Rambo? I told you Rambo. Rambo. I didn't call you that. Oh, hell no, you dummy. Dummy. You have a Confederate flag, dummy. You have a Rambo sun flag. You ever seen this? Hey, and guess what? This is my family. Guess what? This is my family. This is my family.
So that was on the back of the bike on the front bike. You had a vault knot. So anytime you see somebody talking about Putin, they're probably going to vote for Biden. I don't know. I'm still up in the air. As much as I can't stand Biden, I really do feel like Trump's the worst president that we've had. My vote don't mean shit here in Oregon anyway. So they're going, what direction is that? They're going south on, yeah, you see that? It's rare you'll see a Volknot symbol and runes on somebody at a far right rally that isn't a white nationalist. So I'd be curious to see what's up with that dude. Damn, there's a lot of fucking vehicles. Got unmarked cop cars blocking traffic. Uh, are you guys Clackamas? Clackamas County? Clackamas County unmarked cars. We got another Clackamas County coming with the sirens on. Don't know why. Just cause, looks like. Maybe they're gonna lead the parade. There's a cop car pulled over way down there. Here's a question for you. Considering Biden got so many votes in the primary, do you think that many Americans really support Biden over the other candidates? Truly, or do you think that the media really controls us? I guess there is always the argument that he might be the realistic choice because he's a conservative Democrat. The argument that centrists win, which I don't agree with. The QAnon again. From Florida? I know it's getting close to 6. I just want to give a reminder for people that are local to Portland that people are going out to Troutdale to support the stand-up movement because they're getting harassed by fascists. So it's the Multnomah County Sheriff's Station, but was formerly the Troutdale Police Department is the location. It starts at 6. For people that were interested in, I'm forgetting, I'm pretty sure, go back into the video. I believe that's fascist Beeb. Kip. Is that Kip Beeb? Or is that his kid's name? He's one of the fascists that showed up to Portland. I don't know if it was him for sure. Got a Hawaiian shirt here. Doesn't necessarily look like a boog. It's not really armed. Doesn't have any gear on. America, fuck yeah. There's a lot of Slavs out. I actually haven't seen anybody armed or anybody open carrying. I mean, I know that there was actually a call to not open carry and also to conceal carry. So I'm assuming that's probably what most people are doing. Harry Satch. I totally agree. Was just talking about that last night. The Dems lost, so they decided to get a worse candidate. And then he picks the fucking DA for a cop for vice president. There's a Confederate flag. Are you the young lady that supported the Bundys?
Yes.
How are things going with those cases?
Most of them are over.
Yeah.
They serve time or whatever. I don't think we have anybody's going to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other things of it, no.
For sure. It's easy to do.
You know, good feature? Sure. Especially when it's damaged. Sure. He finds you know.
Yeah. What's your thought on Ammon coming out in support of BLM? You don't like it?
I respect Ammon for what he said, but I don't respect the BLM because I live smack dab. He's the fourth precinct. And please feel safe.
So you've seen a lot of the protests? Yeah.
Yeah. You
No, I'm left leaning. Yeah. Yeah.
Now wait a minute.
Hey, freedom of speech, man.
There's Waldo.
That's why you don't get people for having a different point of view. Hey, imagine if I go downtown with a whole bunch of Portland Antifa. I'm gonna get beaten up, man.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure, huh?
Maybe.
For sure, not just maybe, but you still safe.
I've seen a lot of people go down there and not get beat up.
What?
I've seen most people that go down there that are Trump supporters don't get beat up.
Don't get beat up?
Don't, yeah.
Oh, so the social media lied to us then.
No, there's people that got beat up. They usually run their mouth too, and pepper spray people and shoot them with paintball guns and shit like that. That's okay. People can be angry. There's lots of things to be angry about.
It's okay to be angry, but it's not okay to pour your anger on people, on stuff, right?
It depends on what's going on. Do you think if somebody's shooting somebody with a paintball gun and pear spraying them that they should get beat up?
Yeah, not of course, but majority I see people just get angry.
I guess
Yeah.
you don't pay over the people. My people just have marbles.
Yeah, there was some that were like pellet. They're like marbles, but they weren't marbles. They were like plastic. Yeah.
I know that most of them people, and there's LGBTQ because there's some really angry people in that community. But I didn't do it. It's not my fault. So we block my road. They block Lombard with a fence all the time.
Yeah.
Right in front of the police association. So I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why they're allowed to do that. But if
No, they're not. I've even got.
I know that I'd probably get arrested.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't matter that somebody threw something at my horse or came up and hit my horse.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, they will get shot.
Yeah.
And then I will go to jail.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm not taking him downtown. I don't take him to jail.
For sure. There's plenty of people that are getting their asses beat for no reason, including me. I've been shot multiple times. I've been tear gassed over and over again. I struggle sometimes listening to them.
So those people can get around me. Going over the curb and it's good. Like the federal flat. Oh yeah.
Looks like the counter protesters left. There's one person with a two people with a Black Lives Matter shirt. Got ODOT out here. Bunch of security out. Confederate flag. 759 FDP. Oh shit. Something's smoking over here. Maybe somebody just burned out. Oh my gosh. I thought that guy was like in a wheelchair and maybe had some mental disabilities, but he was just sitting in a lawn chair drunk. Sounds like the kids were cussing and they wanted to beat him up. What? Did you guys just say something and then just like started trying to start shit or what? No, these guys. Why was he trying to come at people? Just cause? Yeah, of course. So his kids made it sound like nothing happened. Or maybe it's because there's like two people here that are masked up. Maybe that's why. I don't know if I'm gonna make it out to Gresham. There's gonna be traffic all around this thing. America first. America first. I mean, he was drinking. Yellow with red stripes. Oh, no, I believe that's the Vietnamese flag. It's a group of Vietnamese Trump supporters. This guy looks really familiar wearing a crazy white boy shirt. That somebody's throwing fucking Paintballs. There you go. This hit me in the arm. They're shooting it. Go. Go. Where's it coming from? Y'all see where it's coming from?
What is shooting?
Chandler! Papas, where are you? I've only seen one paintball gun out today. It was Chandler Papas. Coming from up there, isn't it? The paintball? Who's shooting the paintballs? Sure. Exactly. It was crazy. What paintballs? Yeah, straight up. Vietnamese flag, yellow and red flag is Vietnamese flag. Who's shooting the paintballs from over here?
I don't know. I think it's not. I think they're shooting over there.
Has there been any more paintballs?
Are you colorblind or what? I know, only select Black Lives Matter to you, but they all matter to us. Select Black Lives Matter to you, but they all matter to us. Fuck you.
But peaceful, like shooting paintballs, peaceful? Okay, well then how do you know they're peaceful? I was just showing the paintballs on the ground. I really do think that the paintballs were coming from up here. I wouldn't be surprised. This is, I don't remember her name up there, but she's been coming downtown. She literally just pulled out a paintball gun. Yep, she's the one shooting it with Quincy Anatola. We got plenty of paintballs from there. Just be honest. Say you can't stand them. You can't stand them, so you shot him. Be honest. Don't make up shit. Then why were you just trying to shoot people just now? Why were you just trying to shoot people just now? No one, you had the gun pointed at people.
That young man was just asking to be shot.
Why'd you shoot me then? Why'd you shoot me then? You shot me. You shot me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's shooting us with paintballs. Go away. Go away. Go away. I don't give a fuck. Why are you sticking up for her? She's shooting paintballs at people. Aren't you for peace? Right here, she just had the gun. Do you want me to show you? Why are you sticking up for her? Why are you sticking up for her? Why are you sticking up for her? Just stop. Just stop. Shooting paintballs is not free speech. Nice try. And you would support. Simultaneously supporting people shooting paintball guns for no reason. You do. That's what you're doing. You said something about your mom, I think. I literally asked Quincy if they were shooting from up there, and he denied it. They're all straight lying. Lying. Said something was thrown at them. Nothing was thrown at them. If someone was thrown at them, there would be something else going on. I'll get her name. I know who she is. Democrats for Trump. That's funny. There probably are a bunch of Democrats for Trump. We're together. We're together. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. They're like teenage kids he's talking shit to. This is like a waste of a couple hours, but I'm sure somebody will get something out of this. You talking to her?
ODNI decisions, is that what any idea?
So I actually don't know what he's talking about, but ODNI, if you want to look into that, no one knew what it was. It must be a new policy. ODNI, what would that be? I don't know. I'll look it up later. Yeah, Quincy, the guy I was talking about earlier, was up filming up from the top of the scaffolding that was on the back of that truck. The woman that he was with was shooting everybody with paintballs. So I went over there and I was like, "It was you guys, wasn't it, shooting the paintballs?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then I caught her fucking poking the gun out from behind like a blanket just a second ago. You can go back in my video later and see. And then she tried to claim something was thrown at her when it's obviously is it Quincy Franklin or is it Anatello? I think you might be right, Franklin.
I believe that the whole system is the whole justice system as a whole is more of a problem than the cops themselves, than the individual cops. It's the courts, it's the prison, it's all that. That's what I'm saying. Because this they're talking about when cops are making the wrong choices, judges making the wrong choices. I understand those situations, but I don't believe it's so. That's the problem. And that's what we're trying to argue out here. Is that the system is racist?
Yes, thank you. So Quincy Franklin, Anatello on Facebook.
The scenarios that I just gave you wouldn't even be physically possible. Like I said, there was a black man present for 8 years. That's what it costs. No, you should not have school research officers at all. Unfortunately, there is a big trend. Cops can be going into every situation thinking that so what they have to keep their guns around. That's what private problem. It's not a black life matter thing, it's a human life matter thing, right? For my personal experience, for my kids, let's say vast majority of black students get arrested by research officers.
I was in high school and I actually got arrested for assaulting a male student. And I was arrested at school and I was suspended for a few days. And I'm actually very thankful for that experience because I learned a lot about myself. And I also learned.
Are you talking about all the kids that have been shot recently because of the Black Lives Matter protest? The young kids that are being killed in their own neighborhood? You talking about those kids? Are you talking about those kids? See, that's the problem. You don't even know who we're talking about now.
Well, I know what you're talking about. Yep. I don't know. Like, what do you mean? Like, kids are getting killed in a protest because of Black Lives Matter?
Run over by other black
protest? Are you just talking about in general? Are you talking about in general black on black killings?
Well, yeah, in general, black on black is anything. That's what you want to talk about.
Yeah, but you understand that police are.
How do you not understand this? It's just as detrimental and damaging though.
Yes, I agree with that.
I'm out here fighting for racism. Black on black crime is a problem.
That's a really big problem.
But it's a problem that comes from being a lower class citizen. They aren't killing other black people because they're black.
It's not coming from people that we pay to protect us. They're killing people. And it's not about white people aren't getting killed. It's that black people are disproportionately getting killed. Yeah. Do you know the unarmed statistics? Like unarmed black men getting killed and how it's just no, black people are killed based off of the population.
You gotta go off per capita.
Not the population as a whole, but the population.
What about almost like 90% of black people you talk to will say that they've been discriminated against by police in some way? How do you disregard that?
Like I said, I'm part black outsiders that are black.
So you're like almost white passing though, right?
To say that there is no. To say there's no prejudice and stuff like that, man, that would be a lie. But
Right.
to say that the system as a whole keeping one specific group down,
Yeah.
I don't agree with.
So what about the fact that cops constantly go on the stand and lie for other cops?
Again, like I said, man, when you want to pull out
Like that's systemic.
if you want to pull out actual instances where we can actually talk down and look at the actual data itself and say, hey, man,
What
look,
about
this cop acted outside of his jurisdiction.
I don't know
We can
how
talk
it is
about
in
that.
other
But
states, but in Oregon, it is a
Black Lives Matter, all cops suck, they're killing black people in droves. That's absolutely correct. That's a false statement you're telling me, man.
It is illegal.
I mean, I can agree that maybe it's exaggerated a lot, but it's not inaccurate. It could be, but to say that
They're being hunted when they're not.
It's just like any of these other games.
I mean, sure, that's possible.
No matter what, right or wrong. What the fuck did they just say? And the dude's like, yeah, you heard him right.
Yeah, there's assholes everywhere, man. There's assholes
There are
everywhere.
people that are racist
There's
out there.
assholes everywhere. What do you want me to tell you? There's assholes everywhere. Man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there is, but there's assholes everywhere.
That's
Man.
not okay.
That's the majority of assholes here.
Right? That's just a couple bad apples, right? Just
There's
saying.
way more than a
When
couple
you
bad
start
apples here, in my
going from
opinion.
sitting here talking, what we're doing right now, not bad. But once you start going from here to burning down local businesses and destroying communities, that's not
But no
helping.
local businesses have been burned down.
I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about other places. Okay, yeah. No,
Major people that pay taxes here, major rich companies.
I've been down to the protest 5 out of 7 nights a week the whole 90 days, and there's been no local businesses burned down.
Businesses that help run the state, that keep our economy going, that are leaving now because of what's going on downtown.
Yeah, but that's not because of the protest. It's because it's an uprising. It's chaos.
Does not care about individual people's thoughts or what the people think. They only listen to the money. If they start listening to the companies, if they get the companies mad,
For sure.
So how is that
How is that going to help?
You mean rioting? Itself?
right.
Yeah.
I've protested probably, I've been in Portland about 25 miles.
is what you would call protest.
But so here's something a lot of people don't think about. You know, the first night in Portland when Louis Vuitton and fucking Apple was looted, right? Those weren't activists. Leftists that I roll with would not fucking loot Louis Vuitton. Like that's opportunist.
The problem is, I feel like there's a little.
I'm also not condemning it either. I think chaos like that creates a pressure that makes politicians actually make change. I'm not advocating for it, but I'm also not going to condemn it.
If burning and looting really worked, then places in LA wouldn't be as bad as it is right now.
But that's how we got like gay rights. Like because of an uprising, bricks being thrown at cops. Like that's why a lot of the change happened around gay rights. There's lots of. But how though? How do we change it? Having a conversation. But how is it changing policy?
It has to start here, man. You can't get a group of people together and go down to the courthouse and say, "Man, let's burn this motherfucker down and expect something to change."
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about protesting in general, and like actually being out there and being disruptive, not necessarily burning shit down.
Being disruptive and the system is being destructive. There's a difference.
Sure, but where's the line though? Do we know the line? That's subjective.
You want to know who actually did very well in peaceful protesting and actually got his point across, actually got legislation passed?
Martin Luther King.
That's what everybody uses. But Martin Luther King was not the civil rights movement. There was Malcolm X, there was fucking Stokely, there was like the Black Panthers. It was a movement. It wasn't just Martin Luther King at all.
The way that he got it done got more people to listen.
It was also really disruptive.
You get more bees with honey than you do vinegar, man. You can't go out there and say, I hate you, you're racist, I want to kill you, and then expect someone to say, hey, man, why do you feel that way? Let me help you. You have to say, hey, man, this is the way I feel. This is the way I think things are going down. Can we talk about it? That's how you're going to get someone to pay attention and say, hey, man, what are you really dealing with, man? What's going on?
So every time someone gets killed in Portland, I've been at the protest. Every time we get a hold of the city council and we say, this needs to fucking stop, and nothing happens. The only time that anything's happened is after the rioting. Yeah, because they run all cities. That's how it works. They do. They run the vast majority of cities. There's very little Republican ran large cities.
Are not going burning down like this. It's all
You're literally,
Democrats.
whether you realize or not, agreeing with what I'm saying.
All the Democrats voted against.
So do you understand the idea of like the difference between correlation and causation? Like, because there's a Democrat and then there's problems in the city, that it's not necessarily from having a Democrat led, but there's all kinds of other urban problems that can create that.
Those are from Democratic policies, though.
Not necessarily. It's urban. It's density, population density. It's like
this organization right now says they want to destroy the nuclear family. Whether you realize it or not, that's the #1 problem in the black community. There's no fathers to raise their children.
That's propaganda. I've seen what you're talking about. No, I've seen exactly what you're talking about. It came from some far righter that twisted what it said. It was about community, like taking care of each other and not being dependent on the nuclear family. You're talking about what's actually written on their website. Yeah, I read it. We interpret it differently. It's not objectively. That's not objectively what they're saying.
The kids that are ending up on trucks, the kids that are ending up dead, the kids that are ending up on the streets, they're kids that didn't have a mother and father in their home.
Yeah. So what's your point though?
Because of Reagan and the drug war. You know how many people I know that are black men that literally just leave their fucking kids because they don't want to be around them? My dad left before I was born.
So you gotta look at there's a criminological.
Leaving the
That point of view right there is a extremely racist point of view. I'm sorry. That was racist. I don't know about the guys on that.
I do that. I'm bringing up what problem. I'm not arguing.
That's a problem.
I don't necessarily.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you as a person, you were born as a mother and a father. Would you like to have your father in law? If he loves you and he respects you and he treats you like his father should, would you love to have that? Exactly. So it does more good for people than it does harm.
Can we agree that taking people's fathers away is fucked up?
They need their son. They need their mother.
Oh, wait.
That organization says we don't want that.
That's good for the child.
The one that actually
Okay, what about this? You think it's
the things that make a family together that actually make the economy grow, they want to get rid of.
how does capitalism bring a family together?
Free market, are you kidding me? Free market capitalism is the reason why we are able to have this conversation right now. If we got things, if you had things the way you wanted to, such as socialism and communism, you couldn't stand out here saying fuck Trump. You understand that?
There's capitalist countries that you can't. There's authoritarian capitalist countries that you can't.
Free market capitalism.
Yeah, but what's the trade-off though?
Right now, you guys can say fuck Trump, he can suck a dick. You can say all you want. You know what's gonna happen?
In most countries you can.
No, you cannot. Try it in China.
Tell-
Try it in Iran. Try it in Russia.
Tell me
try it
one
in
in.
Korea. Try it in any of
That's
those
not
other countries.
true. That's not true.
It's 100% true. How can you not?
99% of industrialized countries, you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. What countries? What countries though? Besides China, if you want to give that an example.
China. That's the only three I can think of. It's China.
And China's also partly.
I'm looking at a free man there. I'm looking at a free man. I'm looking at a free man here.
But you know,
Is anybody stopping us from having this conversation?
No. But it's not because of capitalism.
You guys aren't, but I know some of your friends would love to come over here and help out.
It's not because of capitalism now. And China is moving towards being a capitalist country. They are. Yes, they are. Why do we have such
Fuck politicians.
I think that both sides have a lot of fucking problems. You know what I'm saying? But as far as where I want to be, America and no other place. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna have a starting point,
That's why I want to work with you. Get if I'm
I
gonna
want to
see
start anywhere else. Right now, we're all different people with different ideas, different ideologies, all that kind of stuff. We're still able to sit down and have a conversation. Right now, I'm telling you for a fact, brother, it would not happen in China. It could not happen in North Korea.
China's like a totalitarian state, though. Like, that's a bad example. That's like an outlier.
But do you understand that?
Like, what about the other communist countries where you can't speak out? Like Cuba or fucking Venezuela.
Cuba and Venezuela is the worst example you can get.
How?
That's not a
But they can say what they want.
Okay, you can say what you want standing in a bread line.
But that's
You can say what you want standing in a bread line.
but Venezuela is where it's at right now because of U.S. policies. They're dependent on us to buy their shit, and we're sanctioning the shit out of them.
In Venezuela, man, for the past decade, man.
Sure, Russia too, but the U.S. is very much involved in that.
I know there's certain systems on both sides of the field over here that are probably detrimental to our well-being, but like I said, as a whole, man, it's good for the best place we're going to get.
We have a lot of privileges. We have a lot of privileges for sure.
People got shot in the face for it, man.
But we're also bullies. We are bullies across the globe.
America is the most charitable nation on the planet. Whenever there's a natural disaster in the world, dude, America gives
We've destroyed so many countries.
and then spent billions of dollars building them right back
Yeah,
up.
but that's not valid. That's not how we do it. But because it helps us to help them. After we destroy them, we don't want them. Pretty much what happens is people in power don't want a bunch of migrants coming up here because we destroy their country. So we give them money to keep their migrants from coming up here.
Wait a minute. So, you know how long the line is for immigrants to get in this country?
For some countries, there's not even a way to get in.
In America, there's a lot of million people. If America is so bad, why are millions of people trying to
Because of the privileges that we get here.
Right. And why do we
I'm not disagreeing with that.
See what I'm saying?
Because we're one of the richest countries and the most powerful countries in the world.
Right?
But why are we there? Why are we the most powerful and the richest?
Are you kidding me?
No. You gotta look at our history.
Silicon Valley literally is the reason why the world is the way it is, and that's here in America.
Sure, like if you want to look at that as being solely the thing, it's not. We've destroyed like at least a dozen countries in South America. We've destroyed Iraq. We destroyed Libya. We destroyed fucking we destroyed Yemen. We destroyed fucking Syria. Like all over the place.
That's a whole different discussion.
Sure, but you can't detach it from U.S. policy in general. You can't say, oh, that's foreign policy, not a big deal.
No, that's not what I'm saying either. What I'm talking about, we're talking about why America is the way it is. Foreign policy really doesn't have much to do with why we're living the way we are here.
I would disagree with that. I would totally disagree with
Foreign
that.
policy is how we interact with other countries.
We're as rich as we are because we exploit other countries.
That's true. We're as rich as we are, man. Because
What about all our businesses that are all overseas? That we're using their workers and paying them nothing.
Well, you're going to get me to agree with you. I don't agree with you. I don't think American companies should be going overseas using slave labor to gain a bigger profit.
That's why we're so rich. That's like the main reason why we're so rich. He's trying to stop that. Sure.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, if that's what he's actually doing, I would agree. That's a good thing.
You legitimately look it up when you go home today. They're trying to stop all that from happening. He wants to bring American businesses back in America. So that's the exact situation.
It also doesn't detract from what I'm saying about America historically being a bully.
But if you guys are out here saying Trump sucks, and then you're admitting that Trump...
I think Trump sucks for different reasons. I think if I were to say anything that Trump does okay, it would be economic stuff. But I think when he calls for a Muslim ban in his campaign, and when he calls illegals that they're sending the murderers and rapists over here, and then he has Sharia. I'm not going to get into Sharia because Sharia is in so many different places, and it's not. But why would Sharia be here? I have Muslim friends that would say that they don't want Sharia here.
My stepfather raised me Muslim. I'm telling you, that religion is insane.
But that's the thing. It's like obviously you're Islamophobic because that's why you would follow him.
Is my Lord and Savior.
So do you think there's good Muslims?
There's good people in every
like what percentage would you say that don't want Sharia law that are in the U.S.?
So this is what I said. So this is what I said. There was actually a test that was done, and it asked us to make it live in this country. It said if we actually had Sharia law come to this country, would you be for it or against it? 70 to 80% of the Muslims live in this country.
I talking about the interviews where they did a bunch of interviews.
Before Sharia law. I'm not for that shit over here, man.
But also, if you look at Sharia, like the what people oppose about Sharia, it leaves out the shit around. You got to look into what Sharia actually is, and it's subjective. It's not objective. Sharia is not cutting off heads and demeaning women. Because I've read about it, I know. Historically, I know about Iran and how they functioned before and after the revolution. I mean, I'm not going to try to argue that. But that really has to come. That comes down to fundamentalists. Just like there's fundamentalist Christians, just like there's ultra Orthodox Jews. Like there's extremists in all religions. And I'm not going to get in the debate of which religion is worse. I can't stand religion in general. I used to be Christian, and I'm not Christian because everybody that I went to church with had a problem with fucking gay people, or they fucking, believe that women belong only in the kitchen. They shouldn't be working. Like that's the shit.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. I would never say that.
But I'm also friends with a lot of Christians. My point being, there's extremists in every religion, and to paint Islam as being this like horrible religion and Christianity being this.
Growing up in it, you find out how horrible it is.
But do you think that's what Islam is, or do you think that's just your experience?
No, I think that's what it is.
That's very self-centered to think my experience is what Islam is.
If you go to Egypt, if you go to Sudan, if you go to Iran, if you go to other places like that, man, that are literally real heavy Sharia law, man, you as an American citizen, dog, would be literally targeted.
It depends. I know that there's leftists in Iran. There's a whole leftist movement in Iran. There's like anti-fundamentalists.
It doesn't make any sense to say fuck America, fuck Trump when you'll still admit that there's certain things that Trump's doing good for his place. It just doesn't make any sense.
But when he has a white nationalist as an immigration policy advisor, I'm going to say fuck Trump.
White nationalist? How is he a white nationalist?
Stephen Miller?
Yeah, how is he a white nationalist?
Stephen Miller organized with Richard Spencer in college, which was just like half a decade ago, and brought in Peter Brimelow, which is the...
So does that mean that you think Biden is bad because he hangs out with Bird?
Biden's a shit. Biden's shit. He's a racist. But I would say like Biden is even more anti-black than Trump is. But
I agree with you.
and the thing with the Democrats is that they appear to be want to put in policies that I would tend to agree with. But what they really do is fucking just like Republicans are just what they are. I can't stand Republicans.
Let me ask you a question, man. You live in America now.
I don't. I'm appreciative of what I get because I've traveled all over the world, and I've been to other places. And there's even in underdeveloped countries that I've been to, Guatemala, for instance, there's a lot of fucking amazing. Their culture is amazing, right? There's a lot of things about Guatemala that I love, but the poverty there is horrible, right? That doesn't mean that I hate Guatemala and I love America because America, I have all these privileges. I acknowledge that I'm lucky where I'm at. And also, the U.S. does a lot of fucked up shit.
I'm thankful for what I get here, but at the same time, fuck this place. That doesn't make sense. That's confusing.
The way that if I were to use a metaphor, if I went around and fucking jack like a little bit of money from everybody, and I lived a fucking lavish life, I would be fucking pretty lucky to live the life I lived. But how did I get there? By jacking a bunch of different people. That's the way that I look at it. I'm not saying innovation is not a part of where we're at.
That's why we are where we are. Understand, it's America. It's the minds that were here that grew up in this country that came up with the ideas for the iPhone, the computer, the different technologies we use in our medical industry. That all came from here, and we sold that to other countries so they could be.
But a lot of it actually comes from foreign students. So if you look like there's a whole museum because of education, but it was their minds that did it. So they were given an opportunity.
Where their minds were free enough to do that.
They could have also gone to other places in Europe.
They didn't know.
There are people that go to Europe that do the same thing.
You have to ask yourself.
Do you actually know the numbers on? I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I don't know the numbers on that.
Right now, the line for immigration to get into a country right now is about 1 million deep, maybe more than that.
Well, you also got to look geographically where we are, and I would not necessarily say that's true because there are countries with very small population sizes. So you have to compare. If we're 330 million, and I don't know the populations in fucking Europe, but we'll say that there's probably Germany or whatever. It's like somewhere between 30 and 100 million or whatever, right? The amount of people that are trying to get into Germany compared to trying to get into the U.S. could potentially be proportional to the population. right? So if there's, you get what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people that are, I would, the reason why I say this is because people from Germany are fucking leaving Germany to come to America. You understand that? German citizens are leaving.
But also U.S. citizens are going everywhere also.
You gotta ask yourself why they are.
Because they can't stand America, or because of healthcare, or because of.
If you're rich enough to afford to move to another country, man, that means America gave you something, right?
Sure, I mean, but is that really America that did that, or did they grow up? Did they either get some kind of opportunity?
It wouldn't happen in China. The fact that we have people at the Mexican border that are literally willing to die to get here because they understand they're going to be able to be free to make their own choices here, that has to mean something to you.
It's for economic opportunity primarily. I was down on the border.
It's not Mexico. It ain't South America. It's not China.
But there's also mixed economies that have just as much opportunity. So you can't say it's capitalism.
They're nowhere near as rich and powerful.
Because they're smaller countries and they don't dominate the whole world. We've always, you know, it's money we give them every year. We give them like $3 billion a year just on defense.
Seems like you guys got some more people coming out here.
Everything's way more complex than what we want to. Like, I'm not gonna say.
Listen, man, anytime, dude. I'm willing to discuss and talk about this stuff, man. This all gets changed, man. It's how we let the talk to each other, man. We gotta have this more. We gotta talk about the ideas. Let the superior ideas prevail. There's no such thing as racial superiority. There's such thing as intellectual, military, and economic superiority. But there's no such thing as racial superiority. We gotta come together with the ideas. We gotta talk. We gotta figure out which ideas bang, and we'll go from there. You see?
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think that people just want to oversimplify things. You want to say it's because of capitalism. I'm not going to say that the problems are because of capitalism. I think capitalism is the problem. That there's no, like, if it's not being regulated, the capitalists can do whatever the fuck they want. And that's what happens in the U.S. We have very little regulation that stops the 1% from just like wealth is passed down.
So all the things that you have problems with, man, I want you to go home and literally look at what Trump did in the past 4 years. I guarantee you a lot of the things that you have problems with in this country, he's done things to fix. I can promise you that.
There's a lot of things that I've seen that people are like, yeah, he's fixing this, and I've actually looked into it, and it's actually not what it looks like.
So
that's why I don't.
Second chance opportunity for people to go to prison, so they can actually get back into the workforce better. The USMC trade deal, the trade between Canada and Mexico, that makes us stronger here. The trade deal we have with China that makes our money come back here. What we did as far as the unemployment rate for women, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, that was done by him. All the things that people have.
I think it's more complex than what you think. It's not just.
If he's bringing the jobs back, that means people have jobs to go to work at, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that will go together, correct?
But often this is economic stuff, right? So
if you give people economic opportunities, that means they're free by default.
I'm not going to disagree with that. But that doesn't. I'm not going to say like, oh, economically he's doing good or okay or whatever, and I'm not going to ignore his fucking xenophobia and his fucking Islamophobia and shit. Like that's just. I'm not going to ignore that the whole white nationalist movement has grown like sixfold and they called him the Great White Hope because he was their fucking last hope. And then once he went for Israel, they fucking abandoned him.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, dude. All the people that I saw here, I don't know who you got to talk to. I don't know who you got to see, man. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when I came out here, dude, I felt nothing but love. I didn't see no hate or animosity, dude. I actually saw the Black Lives Matter group people sit there peacefully and no one bothered them.
We got shot with paintballs.
You want to know what happens to a patriot that goes up to a Black Lives Matter Antifa rally? They're immediately assaulted and accosted. For this many people here to be believing in Trump, and then for a small group like that to show up, and then for them not to be attacked,
we were shot with paintballs.
That says everything.
We were shot with paintballs, though. By the lady up in the scaffolding. Check.
I'm not gonna say it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm John the Lefty. If you look, my live stream has her in there shooting her.
You just gotta understand there's a different emphasis. People here just love America. We love this place, man. It's the greatest place ever. You go to
but it's not really a big deal to me. It's just dumb. You know, and it's based out of hatred and it's based out of stereotype, right? So if there's a fucking riot downtown, this is what I've been seeing happening. So there's protests that happen probably several a day in Portland, but most of them are like pretty small, like sign waving the family. We've had at least two occasions where people come armed and harass families that are holding signs because they're doing a BLM protest because they think everybody that's protesting with BLM is a rioter. That shit has been happening to us all. Like, there's only technically been like 3 riots in Portland.
The only time I'm for violence, dude, is when it's brought upon me. You know what I mean? Other than that, dude, you're free to say whatever you want, man. You're free to feel however you want.
But it still happens. Like, yeah, it was peaceful here. There's some force that attacked me. I just 2 weeks ago got bear sprayed for filming.
If we want to talk about ratio, though, more often than not, Trump supporters are attacked by Antifa and BLM the other way around.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. Also,
You got to understand, why would that be? The atmosphere is probably different here than it would be over there, right?
well, I'll tell you, I've been following for like Patriot Prayer and the Proud Boys since they first came up here. In the very beginning, there was a hell of a lot of Nazis that showed up, and they were exposed. And we gave all this information on the Nazis that were going to be shown to like Joey Gibson and some of the leaders, and they're like, no, there's no Nazis. There's no Nazis. And so when we come and confront actual Nazis, they protect them. And then what happens is the Nazis recruit these Trumpies, and now you got shit like the street preachers that are full-blown Nazis now because they've been ideas spread.
I know it's people on personal experience, dog. Like I said, I'm part black. I'm half black. I'm never going to tell another person they don't have the right to feel or say what they want to say. I'm not going to attack you for feeling the way. I'm not going to physically try to accost you for feeling the way that you feel. I can't speak for other people, man. But what I'm saying to you is you met someone that believes in Christ. You met someone that believes in Trump. I love this country. But I don't hate you, man.
Yeah, no. I have Trump supporting friends. I know it's not like it's. I live on a spectrum. I'm not black and white, right? And I agree with you to the point, like, people deserve the right to believe what they believe, but once they start getting into supporting genocidal ideology, if you get socked in the face for saying fuck Jews, I'm not going to bitch about it.
The genocidal ideology is going and taking abortion clinics and sticking them in every corner in a minority neighborhood. That's genocidal, man. What are you talking about? You know how many black kids are aborted every day? But that's not
based off of like a race.
No, this is specifically a race.
So white people aren't aborted then?
They are, but at an astronomical rate. Blacks are way higher up.
Why is it because of poverty?
Do you know who Margaret Sanger is?
I know a little bit about it. But the people that are actually going to get abortions
was a racist that believed that black people were the scum of the earth and that we needed to wipe them off the face of the earth. You understand
that? The reason why people are actually going to get abortions is not because they're listening to her. It's because they don't want or can't have a kid for whatever reason that is.
Listen, man, when I first had my kid, dude, I wasn't balling out of control, dude. You know what I did? I made a choice. Go to work and take care of that kid. I made the choice as a man to lay down. I made a choice as a man to lay down on a woman and create a child, right? Yeah. So that means I had to be man enough to go get a job and take care of it, right? I can't use the easy way out and say, hey, man, just get rid of the baby and kill it. I'm not ready for this kid yet. That sounds like a coward. That's not a real man.
It's people do stupid shit and they don't fucking think about it. There's people can be irresponsible. That's not a valid reason to condemn them. Actually, or say
9 out of 10 abortions that happen, dude, are literally because it's just convenience. They didn't want the kid. That's terrible, man. Yeah, that's terrible. If you're going into an abortion clinic just simply because there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with the baby, you just don't want to have a kid right now. Yeah. Then why didn't you wear a condom? Why weren't you abstinent?
I'm not going to argue about.
Why didn't you do the many steps beforehand before the child was actually created? You know
I'm not gonna really debate about abortion because I don't think there's any way to objectively determine whether a life is taken there. That's going to be dependent on an individual's beliefs.
Listen. Right now, if we were to find a bacteria on Mars right now, what would they call it?
They would call it bacteria.
They call it life. They say we found life on Mars. Yeah. So what the hell is the difference, man?
So I'm not trying to shut you down. I'm just saying I don't want to have this debate because I feel like there's no factual information that we could have an argument about it. What I will argue is that I don't believe the state should intervene in people's lives like that. That's where I will argue that. Because I'm a libertarian leftist. Like, I don't believe the government should have their hands in our lives like they do.
Again, I agree with that. I'm more conservative, Doc. I think the government's only role in my life is to protect my right to do what the fuck I want to. You know what I mean?
Do you think the government should be able to say you cannot have an abortion? It's illegal, or you get locked up or fined. Do you think that they should be able to do that?
So again, I'm a pro-life person. I think it should be abortion anyway.
Morally, you believe that. Legally, do you think it should be legally stopped? Like, if you have an abortion, you can get locked up or fined. If you don't pay the fine, you get locked up.
I don't think there should be penalties for it. No.
Yeah. So that's really, like, objectively, that's really the only place that I can debate is the idea of government intervention. If we're talking morality, I just can't, like, it's like talking about what God is to me. I can't talk about what God is. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at abortion.
Well, listen, man, like I said, I appreciate you being out here having the conversation.
What are you talking about? You know, Biden literally is being investigated right now for pedophilia.
I hope you take this.
I support Black Lives describes the organization as a terrorist organization.
Physically help you.
I'm gonna give you a fact. You're stopping the fucking interest.
Something way more than Obama. That's factually correct. That's factually true. So suppose white racist xenophobe helped out minority communities more than an actual minority. Let me ask yourself why that happened. That's a real legitimate question. It's an objective question that they ask. Well, if Obama was for the black community and the minorities, why did it take a racist white guy to lower the unemployment? Why did it take a xenophobic, homophobic white guy to give them the equal opportunity zones? Why did it take this racist evil guy to give them a second chance? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think
Don't take my word for it. I don't want you to do it because I'm saying it. I want you to physically look it up.
I'm asking you, that's what Democrats say. Look it up. You have to look facts to back anything up. You don't have facts to back anything up. So all you do is get the That's called being uneducated.